Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Team Kinetic, for the warm introduction. We are Team Oracle, and like the oracles of the ancient world, we are here to show you the future by being the voice of the Yaya market.
Today, we'll be diving in to how Yayas interact with and perceive taboo, a topic that used to be uncomfortable and even a bit frightening.
But the Yaya market is embracing the world of taboo in surprisingly new ways.
That said, before we can show you how their viewpoints differ from older generations, we must first show you why.
What is taboo has always been decided by what society thinks is right and wrong. For centuries, this line was determined by religion. Your moral code basically came from which book you decided to have on your nightstand.
But we found that our Yayas are rethinking these religious-based values. 68% agreed that societal norms about what is acceptable are outdated, and 59% agreed that these norms cause more harm than good.
This falls in line with a massive identity shift, as 35% of the Yaya market identifies as religiously unaffiliated for a variety of reasons. For example, 76% of our survey said that religions could do more to take a stand on the issues affecting our generation, like climate change or mental health issues. Others have said that religion is too restrictive or too slow to satisfy.
According to one individual, everyone's after really quick bits of happiness, and religion is too slow of a thing to deliver that. Another said, we have to follow these rules. Why can't we say we believe in God and talk to whoever we think may be God?
So, who is deciding what is right and what is wrong if our gods aren't?
We found that our Yaya's Bibles are collecting dust as they open their screens to a new kind of religion, cyber scripture.
Instead of big white chapels or centuries-old temples, our Yaya market is congregating in subreddits and TikTok hashtags.
In fact, 91% of the Yaya market believe online communities like Book Talk and Cottagecore support new value systems outside of traditional norms.
The loudest voices of these communities have become the new pastors and gurus. 1 in 5 Yayas say that they consult social media influencers before making any big decisions.
The freedom of choice has allowed Yayas to point their moral compass wherever they like. 84% agreed that they define their own moral code.
This moral code is simple. If nobody gets hurt, it's fine. 78% of Yayas agree that whether something is right or wrong depends on how much it helps or harms others.
The internet and recent legalization of taboos, like cannabis and gambling, have made taboo very accessible to our Yaya audience.
It has also normalized and amplified the content that our parents would have covered our eyes to. 91% of the Yaya market agrees that the internet has desensitized people to taboo content.
One person said, once someone's brain gets used to a level of explicitness, there's a craving for something more.
So, what do you get when you combine a generation defining their own morals with unprecedented freedom?
And an online world romanticizing and easing accessibility to taboo.
You get a new perspective on the explicit, the dangerous, and the immoral. You get the spectacle, a new lens changing the way Yayas see taboo.
This new lens has allowed our Yaya market to not just justify taboo, but leverage it for personal gain. This is a phenomenon we like to call the Great Rebrand. One shocking example is the rebrand of recreational drug use.
73% of Yayas agree that acceptance for recreational drug usage is trending forward. It's easy to associate drugs with massive parties or throwing a middle finger at your uptight parents.
But drugs have become a therapeutic release for Yayas. 64% selected seeking an escape from anxiety, depression, or other mental health struggles as a possible scenario that could lead them to experiment with drugs.
One Yaya said, I think that in recent years, with the attention towards mental health treatment, drugs are becoming less taboo.
Another expressed, I think it's a negative thing if you're just doing drugs in the bathroom to keep drinking. But if you're using it to cope with a mental illness, it's different. One drug in particular has caught the spectacle's attention.
Marijuana is replacing alcohol as the preferred vice due to the fact that 62% of Yayas believe cannabis is a safer alternative to alcohol. Even the workplace mixer is catching smoke, as nearly half of our survey told us they think it should be acceptable to be high at work events where alcohol is served.
This rebrand extends to harder drugs as well. The Yaya market is unlocking the potential of the microdose and unprescribed amphetamines.
Microdosing is being used to medicate our Yaya's mental health pitfalls, as half told us they think microdosing mushrooms can be a beneficial treatment for challenges like anxiety and depression.
And meanwhile, a stunning 1 in 5 Yayas believe that occasional amphetamine use can make anyone a better student. And a 2020 study by the National Library of Medicine found that nearly half of all college students using these substances do so unprescribed.
Even the stigma of addiction is being scrubbed away by the spectacle, as 75% told us that they think addiction is an issue that should be discussed publicly.
Drugs aren't the only potentially addictive taboo that's being rebranded by the spectacle.
The rapid legalization of sports gambling and the popularization of apps like Fliff and Underdog Fantasy have opened up the act as a tool for YAYAs to invest their money and have some fun in the process.
7 in 10 YAYAs agreed that acceptance towards sports gambling is trending forward. And our survey found that 42% see sports betting as an investment.
And according to one YAYA, you could put an investment on a super risky stock. You could also put a super risky bet down in sports gambling. I think that they're honestly pretty much hand in hand.
Like stocks, the more you know, the richer you get. 3 in 4 YAYAs agree that it's easier to be successful at sports gambling if you're knowledgeable about sports. Plus, betting the house is easy if our generation can't afford one.
And unlike IRAs or 401ks, winnings from sports betting aren't a nest egg for YAYAs.
The most common uses of their winnings is for fun money, for hobbies or going out, or essentials like groceries.
And 4 in 10 YAYAs know someone who makes a lot of money sports betting, furthering the unconventional belief that it's not a waste of money, but a side hustle.
Not every taboo has been treated to a glowing rebrand. Sex and explicit content sit on the edge of comfort for our YAYA audience.
In fact, it seems as though sex isn't selling for the YAYA market after all. Our survey did find that acceptance for different gender identities, sexual expression, and sex work is trending forward within this demographic.
But that doesn't mean they're yearning for more pornography and sexual expression on their feeds.
For example, one YAYA said, quote, "Sexual expression seems excessive in some situations, and the only thing they're trying to do is sell themselves."
And YAYAs also just can't shake the dirtiness of this content, no matter how empowering it may be. When I see creators making OnlyFans content, I hate that I automatically associate it with being dirty.
This trend is extending into traditional media sectors, as a 2024 UCLA study found that 62% of youth 10 through 24 said that sex just isn't needed in TV shows or movies anymore.
However, unlike previous generations who may have thrown a fit over explicit content, the YAYA market is merely refusing to pass judgment and scrolling past it.
As a whole, the YAYA market doesn't want to judge anything in an attempt to be more inclusive and respectful. 89% of YAYAs agree that acceptance is an expression of respect.
This has led YAYAs to be unwilling to take strong stances. Half of YAYA individuals would rather accept all opinions than be forced to have a decisive opinion. Why say what you feel when you risk offending someone or alienating yourself?
One YAYA expressed that inclusivity has made society a judgment-free zone. Another said, it makes it really hard to tell people what they're doing is wrong.
Our YAYA market struggles to tell someone that they are in danger from their own lifestyle because judgment has become the final taboo.
This has made our YAYAs feel safe to engage with these taboos and rebrand them because no one wants to ruin the party or ruffle a friend's feathers. They forget that every taboo holds a dark side, and that sense of danger is slipping further and further away from our YAYA market.
It can be easy to feel that smoking weed every day is normal because, after all, it's safer than alcohol, right? It's no surprise that half of all YAYAs know somebody addicted to cannabis.
Every time we engage with these taboos, it's a bet hoping it won't harm us or get us hooked. A bet that the YAYA market is willing to take since 59% agree that making an educated bet pays off.
56% of the YAYA market agree. They walk a fine line between control and chaos in their lifestyle choices. This has made our generation the spectacle as we walk the tightrope of taboo with no safety net.
The cost of normalization is our ability to recognize when taboo goes too far. One YAYA said, "I think normalization can give people a sense of comfort that is not really there. You can kind of lie to yourself and tell yourself things are okay, when in reality, it's not."
As some YAYAs sports bet daily, they begin to lose the meaning of risk.
52% of YAYAs say that money won from sports betting doesn't even feel like real money. But how do they feel about money lost?
And with sex being such an uncomfortable subject for this demographic, how are 30% of YAYAs who know someone addicted to explicit content supposed to lend a helping hand?
When we set out to research YAYAs and taboos, our main question was, what even is taboo anymore?
But what we learned is the real question isn't what's taboo, it's what happens when we stop questioning it.